Hello, friends. So I am testing out some stuff here, and you can ignore it, like I said in there. Testing, please ignore. But if you're watching this anyway, I figured I'd kind of explain what I'm doing here. So basically, what I wanted to do was stream to my website. And what I mean by that is just open up a Twitch window on my website. So I've been doing that before. So if you go to jeremymorgan.com, usually about 5 to 10 minutes before I start a stream, I go in, I drop in the HTML. It's an iframe that frames in the Twitch stream. And it's really cool. It's just kind of a way to let the people going to my website know that I'm streaming, and they can click on through and go to Twitch and check it out. Especially if they've never done it before, it's a good way to show people new stuff. But when I was talking with my boss, I started doing this at work with allhandsontech.com and talking with my boss, and she said, why don't you just make this automated? And so, we're programmers after all, right? We should make this automated. We shouldn't go in and insert HTML into a website every single time we're going to stream. So that's what I set up yesterday. And so I'll just kind of walk through the setup that I made here. And this is actually a real-time test. I don't know if this works yet or not. So let me go ahead and jump onto my desktop here. Open up jeremymorgan.com. And there it is. Awesome. So it does work. And there's my buddy Steve in the chat room. Looks like we're good to go. So I'll just kind of show how I did this. And there's probably better ways to, actually I know that there's better ways to do this other than what I just set up, but this is what I came up with. So I will go ahead and minimize this. I will open up jeremymorgan.com. Here's how I set it up before. So anytime I do a Twitch stream on here or on Pluralsight stream, I just uncomment this iframe. As you can see here, we have Pluralsight officials so that it's uncommented, pops up that screen. I start streaming. As soon as I'm done, come in, edit the HTML, push it through, whatever. Now it's a little bit different. So now I have some stuff set up here. I have a div. I still have that Twitch viewer that I would embed otherwise. And I've got this embedded here in HTML. And it's there all the time, constantly. But I do have an ID here that becomes important. And I'm injecting a script. So as you can see here, we have function inject script. And I'm injecting a script from Azure Websites. Let's go ahead and just load this up here. We'll copy. Of course, I took the browser out of here. And this is actually, I'm surprised this is even working because it's not supposed to say none. Oh, I see. I'm Jeremy Morgan. There we go. It's supposed to say block. So what I have here is I built an Azure function where I pass in the user login. And when I pass in jeremymorgan.com or just Jeremy Morgan, this is my username on Twitch. And what it's doing is going out to Twitch and saying, is Jeremy Morgan streaming? If so, spit out this small little piece of JavaScript here. And this JavaScript says Twitch viewer style display block. So what it's doing is going in here, it's finding this Twitch viewer and it's changing the display to block. Now if I change this to Joe Schmo, it says display none. Joe Schmo isn't streaming. So let's just do a few tests here just for the heck of it, right? Twitch TV. We've got Lanalex here. So we can see that she's streaming. She's online right now, live. So if we go here, this should change to block. And there it is. It's block. So we'll go here to Togglebit, who we can see is offline. And this should change the display to none. There we go. So what I'm doing is just reaching out to Twitch on my website and saying, Are they streaming? Yes or no? So here's how I decided to do it. I'm using an Azure function for this because I thought this would be the perfect chance for an Azure function. I think I could do this with JavaScript. I'm a little bit worried about credentials and things like that. So I just decided to create this Azure function, and it's super simple. So as we go here, we have a function name called getLiveStatus, and that was what we were just calling earlier with the web browser. It takes, as a parameter, it takes your user login here, stores it in name, and then we create a new request. And in that request body, we'll basically send out a request, and we look for that name. And I create a blank response message with stream empty, because that's going to be used down here. And then we say if string isn't null or empty, so if we have something in the name field, we have to have that username. Then we'll create a new REST client to API Twitch TV. We go to Helix Streams, which is where you can check on people's stream activity. And then I throw in my client ID and client secret, which is environment variables. I know that's not the best way to do it, but I didn't really want to set up an Azure key store because this is just kind of a proof of concept thing that I've got going right now. So I'm just storing those in environment variables. Pull the client ID and secret, add them into the headers. We add in our user login to the query parameters and execute the request. So we build this request, we send it out to the Twitter API, and we say, is Jeremy Morgan online? Yes or no? Now in here, I check for a response. And if that response is not unauthorized, which obviously if one of my keys is bad or something like that, it's going to send back some JSON that this application isn't really going to understand. But if it's not unauthorized and it's not null, because it'll come back null if I'm not online, then we'll just deserialize that object that comes back. We'll stuff it into this result here. And if we have data in that result, then I'm streaming. If not, then I'm not. So this first switch says, if the result isn't no, if we have some data there, then let's just spit out this piece of code that says display block. Otherwise, display none. Also, if the response is null or unauthorized or whatever, we'll also display none. So basically the whole default of this thing is to not display that window. You have to meet these specific criteria to meet that window. And then we just return it out as an OK object result. So it's just a piece of string. This Azure function is just spitting out text. It doesn't format it, doesn't care. Just spits out one line of text one way or another. And here's my stream response where I mentioned here where I'm turning it into a JSON, turning the JSON into an object. This is a stream response, and so we have data, and we're getting title, viewer count, and type. So if I have a title, if I have viewer count, and we have a type, then we know that the stream is online and running. So that's basically the gist of it. This is going to be a really short stream because it's just a test. However, I wanted to kind of show it off. Here's my Azure function here that I have set up. And it's just very, very simple. As you can see, these are all of the lines of code that do it. What I'm going to do, one of the reasons that I picked title, viewer count, and type is because I'm going to change up the HTML a little bit here on my site. And instead of just showing that window, I'm going to show the title, and it's something that I'm going to work on today, where I'm going to show a title like Jeremy's test stream, watch with 2 other viewers or whatever it ends up being. And then we're still going to check for that type to make sure it's a live, good to go thing. I'm going to release the code for this fairly soon. Kind of want to clean it up a little bit and make it better, but yeah, just wanted to test it out today. Make sure everything is working great. And again, here's my stream. As soon as I go offline, this will change to none. Or if I put in some random thing, it'll go to none. And it just injects this JavaScript in and says, turn off this Twitch viewer or turn it back on. it's a lot better than commenting and uncommenting HTML and publishing it every time. So that's pretty much my thinking. I'm going to keep working on this, make it a little more solid, and then you can expect it from allhandsontech.com every time Pluralsight does a stream, whether it's mine or anyone else's. Anytime they go live on Twitch, it's going to show up there on allhandsontech.com, and on jeremymorgan.com, it's going to show all of my streams. I recently became a member of Live Coders. So I will show you this cool stuff here. This is pretty exciting. So we'll see if I can find it here. There's the Live Coder page. So this member of Live Coders, it's basically like a team. As you can see when people are streaming, how many people are watching, but this is just a group of like really cool people. Actually, a lot of these people are people that I follow. I can see these three right here. This was started by Jeff Fritz, who's just amazing with streaming, does a great job, and started this group of Live Coders. So if you go to twitch.tv/team/livecoders, you can find a whole bunch of really cool people to follow and watch their streams. As we can see, we just used her stream earlier. She does some really cool stuff with gaming and building games. That's just pretty incredible. But yeah, that's about it for this stream. Doing a Twitter space here in about 45 minutes on building your career. So check that out. But I just wanted to test this out, and I figured test it in real time, you know, like as we're streaming, as we're live, just to make sure that everything's good and looks great. I'm going to check the chat room here. Only one person. You're a rebel, Steve. You were told to ignore this, and you did not ignore it. Anyway, I'm going to be doing a lot more cool streaming. I'm going to do some .NET stuff. Going to do a lot of stuff with Blazor and probably Maui coming up soon for anyone else that watches this after we're done. I'm showing right now that I have a whopping 2 viewers. One of them might be me. The other one might be Steve. Anyway, thank you for watching my stuff, and we'll be jumping back on here soon.